Innovator's Journey. This show is a series of interviews highlighting entrepreneurs, creatives, and visionaries with innovative approaches to business. Today, we're joined by Greg DiFranza, founder and CEO of Camp Canine Jacksonville Beach, a premier canine training organization specializing in instinctual communication. Dr. DiFranza is joining us today to tell us about his unique training philosophy and book as well. Greg, welcome to Innovator's Journey.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Very excited about this interview today. I love dogs. I love my dog. So can't wait to learn more about what you do. You certainly have a unique background from tactical operations training to dog psychology. How did this unexpected career transition lead you to founding Camp Canine?
Actually, it was kind of by accident. I had a lot of contracts. And then in 2013, when ISIS really started overseas, a lot of my contracts dried up too. So I wasn't traveling as much. A couple of people asked if I knew of anybody that could keep their dog while they were out of town. And we just kept them in a family setting. But I would always find out what's the short little issue they might have, not liking the water or something. And then we'd do those same things. And it wasn't about a board and train. It was just simply, I'm going to be here with the dog. We're going to do the same things we always do. And then I'd send them pictures or videos about what their dogs were now doing, and very much organically grew from there because people saw it and they saw their dogs having fun being dogs. And it wasn't that much of a challenge, really. So it was challenging to have the humans change their perspective. That's always the key.
Yeah. So sometimes it's a human problem when dealing with animals.
It's 95% of the time it's us. Yeah. We just don't, we're not sure how to communicate, and we try to communicate more like another human.
Right.
And that's actually not who dogs are. So too much talking, too much, gosh, why doesn't this dog read my mind? But they know behavior. They knew it from birth. Mom was their first trainer, and she taught them everything they need to know. We don't know how to make that connection. And so that's what I do is I teach people how to communicate without all the talking, without all the commands, without all the tricks and tools that humans have come up with. Because for thousands of years, dogs don't need that. They know how to communicate with each other.
Yes, let's talk a little bit more about your approach because it seems to heavily focus on the mental aspects of dog training rather than just techniques. Can you share an example of how changing an owner's energy or mindset transformed their relationship with their dog?
Well, the biggest one is usually clients that have dogs that are not quite certain about what it is they're supposed to do, or the humans aren't right certain about what they want to have done. And that uncertainty translates to our dogs, who are what are called alelo-mimetic creatures. They copy us. So they'll copy your energy. And if your energy is uncertain, your dog doesn't have any certainty in how to move forward. But that's where things can go wrong. Right? That's where aggression really starts from, that uncertainty, the no rules, the no boundaries. So when I help people change their perspective, not just by technique, but by what they think of themselves, right? So if you're confident in you, people will be confident in you as well. If you're not confident in yourself, nobody's going to be confident in you. And that's actually not leadership in the animal world. That's difficult for humans to change.
Super fascinated by this next question. You've mentioned that people often misinterpret dog behavior, like confusing excitement for aggression. I think I do this all of the time. What are some common misconceptions that you see dog owners struggle with?
When your dog is just super excited, that could be a number of things. It could be, I don't want to be near something that I'm not certain about. It could be, hey, let's do this. It can be, hey, everybody settle down because there's too much energy and the dog thinks they have to go settle that. And then dogs do use sound sometimes. And that doesn't mean just because my dog is barking at something or another dog that they're aggressive. Just be excited. I mean, it'd be the same as when you and I introduced ourselves to each other. I said, hey, how are you doing? So you have to look at what the tension of the dog is, and then just kind of disregard the sound part. I mean, we're using sound right now, and they do too, but it's really more of a, hey, pay attention to my energy.
Yeah. It seems like too, humans need to do better about reading cues. And my dog, for example, used to be afraid of everybody. And then gradually she's gaining trust where if we meet somebody on a walk, people ask me if they can pet her. Usually I'll say no. And mostly it's because she's afraid. But she does this thing where she'll like get down into play mode and she's like barking. And sometimes I can't tell, is this excitement or when does this creep into she's communicating something else? So sometimes that is hard for humans to read. I agree with that.
Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's what you see as an imitation by a dog that's not certain. Humans are like this too. Sometimes some humans, it takes longer for them to get more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that they're antisocial. It just means sometimes it takes them longer to process. And for dogs that do that, that's generally a dog that's considered a back of the pack dog. Back of the pack dogs are far more reactive to new things because the middle of the pack, the happy-go-lucky, everything's awesome, let's go play. When they're in the pack, they're doing something else other than paying attention to twigs cracking behind them, right? And leadership, you and me, we go, we'll address that or we're going to ignore it.
Interesting. It's so interesting.
It just takes longer sometimes. So I generally tell people, don't say no, you can't, because the human wants to go pet and go touch. But does the dog want to be touched or petted, right? And that's actually, the receiver is more important than the giver on that. So sometimes it's just, we're just going to wait until they get comfortable and I'll let you know when you can pet them. And if that's never, that's fine too.
That's a great point. That's a great point. So you emphasize the importance of living in the moment with dogs rather than dwelling on past behaviors. How can pet owners shift their mindset to be more present focused?
The best way to learn anything you ever do is just do it over and over again. And that's a human response. I mean, because dogs will get things much quicker. But for us, if you Google changing a habit, it's anywhere from 18 to 254 days for a human to change habits to become just second nature. So you really just have to keep doing it. Now, the beauty of this is with your dog, you're going to do it multiple times every single day. So we not only do that with them, but then truly observe what's going on and not try to put into human terms what you think you see. So I had a client today whose dog was a little uncertain about getting in the back of the car. And he said, well, what do you think happened to her to make her not want to get in the car? It's like, nothing. She's not certain. So we're just going to teach her small bits at a time, but we're still going to make this happen today. And of course we did, but we had to break it down into small parts. Living in the moment is really about what's happening right now. Let's move forward.
That's interesting. Well, to close with, tell us about your book. What inspired you to write it and what makes its format particularly accessible for dog owners?
I wrote the book and I didn't know a lot about what I know now. I didn't go into a deep dive trying to figure out what was going on. So what I want to do is remove the why question that people ask, because you can discuss that forever on one small event and there's never going to be a resolution to that. So I wrote that so that people would have the ability to hear and see the same experiences other owners have had. Because 66 chapters, it's 66 different clients that I've had. And it's just a quick overview of each dog, what we did, what the problem was, so the people could really understand that they're not the only ones out there. You know, their dog's really not unique. I'm sorry to say that, but your dog's problem's not unique. And so when I wrote the book, I wrote it to be very quick. It's not a technical book. It's one that you can read a chapter and put down. Some of the stories are funny. Some of them are a little heartfelt, but they all have a real connection with everything you and I and everybody who's a dog owner and lover has experienced in our lifetime with our dogs.
Well, how can people learn more about Camp Canine and potentially work with you? Do you do virtual sessions?
I don't do virtual sessions just yet. That's on the horizon. I don't have the time because I'm every day with a client, like 7 days a week. But if they go to Camp Canine, jacksbeach.com, there's no hyphen in between the K and the 9. That's the website has some information on there. They can also just email or text me. And if it's a quick problem, let's just have a chance to chat. So either way, there's a whole slew of ways to get in touch with me.
Well, thank you so much, Greg, for joining the show.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me.
Until next time, I'm Jennifer Pierce. Thanks for tuning in to Innovator's Journey.